Hey guys, this is Austin, and today I'm here with a video recapping WWDC 2012. Now, Apple announced quite a few things at the event, however what we're going to talk about today are the new MacBooks. To start with, let's talk about the next generation MacBook Pro. Now they're actually keeping the current generation around, and I'll explain that in just a minute, but for starters, let's go over the brand new flagship of the line. So the new MacBook Pro has a lot of new features, but probably the most important is the new Retina display. So it's a 15.4-inch panel with a resolution of 2880 by 1800. Now if you guys are keeping track, that is a lot of pixels. That's more than the iPad 3, that's more than any kind of high-definition TV, it's even more than the 27-inch iMac. The new MacBook Pro is also quite a bit thinner. So it's not quite as thin as the MacBook Air, however it's pretty close at only 0.7 inches all the way across. On top of that, they've also removed a few things and added some ports. So they have removed the optical drive. I don't think anyone's all that surprised about that. And they've also removed FireWire as well as Ethernet. In exchange, they've added a pair of Thunderbolt ports, USB 3.0, as well as HDMI out. These new MacBook Pros are also fast. So you can pick it up with either an Intel Core i5 or Core i7 CPU. Both of them are going to be quad-core, and they're also the latest Ivy Bridge models. On top of that, you can pick it up with either 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM, an SSD between 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, or 768 gigabytes. Again, in an SSD, there's not going to be any kind of normal hard drive option. And as far as graphics go, it's going to be powered by the NVIDIA GeForce GT 650M. The new MacBook Pros are going to be shipping today. Now it's going to start at a list price of $2,200, definitely not cheap. However, for that money, you're going to get the quad-core Core i5, you're going to get 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a 256 gigabyte SSD. Like I said earlier, these are not the only new MacBook Pros, so the current generation with the same design is still going to be staying around. So it's going to be starting with the 13-inch, it's going to still be $1,200, however it will now have the new Core i5 with the Intel HD 4000 graphics. The 15-inch model of the MacBook Pro is also going to be staying around, and just like the 13-inch, it's going to gain a few new features, so it will have a Core i5 or Core i7, and have USB 3, and it will stay at the same prices. The MacBook Airs also saw an update. So the design is just the same, and you're still going to be able to pick it up as an 11 or a 13-inch model. However, the prices and some of the specs have changed. The 11-inch Air still starts at $1,000, and for that price, you're going to get a Core i5, 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is up from 2 gigabytes previously, and a 64 gigabyte SSD. At $1,100, you'll be able to get that exact same setup, but with 128 gigs of SSD storage. Moving on to the 13-inch Air, for $1,200, you'll be able to pick up the base model, which comes with 4 gigabytes of storage, a slightly upgraded Core i5, as well as 128 gigabytes of storage. Now for another $300 on top of that, you can bring that 128 gigabytes up to 256. Alright, so let's go over all these new models. So for starters, the next generation MacBook Pro is going to be starting at $2,200, and it's only going to come in a 15.4-inch variety. Now of course that 15-inch display is going to be Retina, which should be really nice. It also comes standard with a quad-core processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a 256 gigabyte SSD. We also have brand new 13 and 15-inch MacBook Pros. Now these are going to come with Core i5s or optionally a Core i7, and they will also come with normal standard spinning hard drives. We also have the new MacBook Airs, which come in a 13-inch and an 11-inch model. So the 13-inch starts at $1,200 and comes with a Core i5, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 128 gigabyte SSD. The 11-inch will also come with 4 gigabytes of RAM, a slightly lower spec Core i5, as well as 64 gigabytes of SSD storage in its base configuration for $1,000. Now all of these computers are shipping as of today, and they will all get a free update to Mountain Lion next month. So there you guys have it, the full recap on all the new MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs. Now I'm very curious to know, what do you guys think? Personally, I'm going to be ordering a new 11-inch MacBook Air as soon as I'm done editing this video, but of course I'm very curious to know what you guys are thinking. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to leave it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in more coverage of the MacBook Air, definitely be sure to subscribe.